Back, I mentioned it at the top of the show. Shelby County DA Steve Mulroy subpoenaed by the City of Memphis this past week. They want any and all correspondence, emails, voicemails, you name it, that have been exchanged between Mulroy and his office, as well as the Crump firm that's representing Tyre Nichols' family and the Department of Justice as well, which Mulroy says we're happy to do. In fact, we have been doing it. But what is your, as the lawyer in the group here, Chris, what does your gut tell you as to what's really behind this move?
3 points.
Okay.
The first one is, I think it's too soon to tell what's going on here. I mean, this is very, very early on. I don't want to ascribe bad motives to anyone. 2, what seems to me, what the issue that this is driving toward is whether the DA can be impartial, right? Because the City of Memphis, the police refer cases to the DA. If any DA, not this situation, any other like it, if the DA was sharing information with one party but not the other, and the party that they were withholding information from, they receive referrals for prosecutions, that becomes a real problem from an impartiality perspective. Let me make my third point. The City of Memphis has a very smart, good city attorney. They have very smart, good outside counsel. These people are not messing around. They're great attorneys. I would doubt very much that they did this lightly, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, as a taxpayer, they better not be messing around, is my view, is because there's an awful lot of money at stake, and I don't think anyone I've talked to with any credibility thinks that the Nichols family is going to get $550 million, but it's going to be a hefty settlement. Everyone agrees with that.
Well, my perspective may be incomplete, but I don't think it's that deep either. I think it's probably the city attorneys just throwing everything against the wall to see what sticks. And I would imagine that the other parties, I would imagine that MPD and the other parties would call for more information, as much discovery as they can too, because who knows, there may be a smoking gun, there may be some kind of evidence that would greatly prejudice one party or grant advantage to another party. And I agree with you. I think that at this point in our city and at this point in our finances, we all better be paying close attention to whatever amount is going to be settled for. I don't think it's going to trial, but I believe it's going to be settled, and I think it's going to be settled by a significant amount, especially now when the mayor is asking for a tax increase and people are moving out of town. I think it's a time that we really should be very circumspect.
And to your point, the mayor has said that part of the budgetary process right now is trying to allot for whatever this settlement might be. Otis?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, my view is pretty much aligned with Ken's on this. I just think this was putting that subpoena out there just to cover some bases here. I don't think there's anything nefarious going on here at all. As a matter of fact, I was told that DA Mulroy has instituted a policy where they do provide information from their files on criminal cases for civil litigants before any criminal case
as a matter
resolved.
of course. They just
as a matter of course.
Mm-hmm.
And they insisted the other day when the subpoena was filed that they had already given this information to the city, and to I think it was the Baker Donaldson lawyer who's representing the city here. They insisted they had done that already. I don't think there's anything nefarious going on here. I agree with Ken wholeheartedly. I think this is going to be settled. I don't think we're going to see a trial. Who wants to go to trial on something like this? But the amount of settlement is going to be hefty because I don't think Ben Crump is going to settle for anything less.
Why should he? Honestly,
why should
George Floyd in that case, Chris, the settlement was $27 million. I know you're just spitballing at this point, but what do you think? How far north of that do you think we're looking at?
I don't know. I mean, my gut is it's probably going to be within that range, right? And to Otis's point, I hope you're right. I hope, and I think that was their initial response, which is, look, we shared it with these folks, we shared it with you. Everybody's on the same page. I'm not, engaging in any sort of impartial behavior. I hope that's what it is. But yeah, I think the settlement's going to be substantive. I agree with Otis. You do not want this to go to trial. The facts are, at least the way I see them, very, very bad. And the city's going to have to pay a ton of money. And insurance factors into this. Yeah. I don't understand the ins and outs of that, but it's still going to be expensive for the taxpayers.
You alluded to it earlier, but what are the implications if we were to find out that they have not been willfully turning over the various emails and evidence as they should have been doing?
It's an interesting question. I don't know what the next bounce of the ball would be, because I don't know if it's necessarily a legal duty. I think that it would call into question, again, just whether or not he was behaving impartially toward the major referral of his prosecutions. I think that would create a massive breach of trust and a problem. And
Well,
that's
I think
why
there
I hope
probably
it's not
are.
the case.
I think there probably are some emails and texts and stuff that he didn't turn over because to him they were innocuous, and none that he would have thought would be connected.
But I think now we give the DA the benefit of the doubt. We see how this plays out, and hopefully what his press office released about, hey, we've provided information to both sides would be true, because that's the last thing we need. The last thing we need is a total breakdown in the trust between MPD and the prosecutor's office. That would be a nightmare.
Because they have to work with each other on everything else.
Hand in glove, hand in glove, on everything.
Give us an idea of how the timeline on something like this. What's a realistic amount of time to expect that this might finally get resolved?
Can I give you the lawyer answer?
Yeah, please.
It
Whatever
depends.
Can you do better
I
than
mean,
that?
look, they could settle this thing within a few months, or it could drag out, and they could enter the beginning parts of litigation with discovery, and then you never know where that goes. But my gut is that, does the city really have a strong case here? Probably not. It seems like everybody, including the administration, is preparing for the inevitable, which is to fess up and pay out some money.
And keep in mind, this is a federal case. The lawsuit is a federal case, and I just believe that there's not going to be a ton of foot dragging here. I think that the judge is going to want to move this case as expeditiously as possible, because you also have the Justice Department
looking into this,
it from another angle.
That's exactly.
And we have the federal indictment still out there. So I just think that it's not going to drag on for years and years and years like the Fifth Trinera case in state court did. Don't get me started.
Yeah, that's another whole topic, which we had time for. As a taxpayer, not only am I concerned about what the settlement might be and how many millions of dollars it might cost the city, but I also want to make sure my city has learned its lesson from what's happened, so that this kind of thing doesn't happen again. Do you have, I mean, we know about all the investigations going on and the different probes and moves for reform. Do you think Memphis gets it and some lessons will be learned from this?
Well, I connect this situation to what happened in Atlanta, where I went to college and where Maynard Jackson was a rising star on the national political scene, and then the child murders occurred. And it sullied Maynard Jackson's career forever. I just don't think our city can overcome it overnight. I think it'll take years to get past it or learn the particular lesson, because no matter how clean the police department is from this moment forward, no matter how honest the administration is from this moment forward, you can never control the behavior of a lone wolf or somebody who's just off or losing it at some point. It's so unpredictable.
Good point. All right. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about barbecue, lighten things up a little bit around here, and the dueling competitions that have been underway both downtown and in Midtown right after this.